Good morning. Good morning. My name is Kim Hayden, and welcome to Kim Talks All Things Real Estate. Today is Thursday morning, and this is where we go out and we find people that are like boots on the ground in all the markets, and we're just going to get to the nitty gritty. As we all know, real estate's a hot topic right now, and what's a little bit warmer than Phoenix and Arizona and that whole beautiful area? I'm sitting here in the cold, just so you know, it's like minus 16 in Calgary. So I've got my hot tea, and I'm hoping I can get some warm vibes from Kimberly Caruso. Fast. Now, first of all, I have to say I love this name, Caruso. So I think Robinson Crusoe. She's out exploring. She's bringing back great finds, and she's doing it fast. Like you
There
could
you
not
go.
invent a better name for real estate. So,
Took that into
Kimberly,
consideration.
now did you actually go out and like invent that name, or is that like just a given
No,
name?
I married it. I married that name and chose to take it because it worked.
It works so well. It works so well. So, top 1% of realtors in Arizona. So, first, tell us exactly where you're at and what's your market that you're working in.
Sure. So I've been a realtor for about 10 years in the greater Phoenix area. I work all of Maricopa County. I'm from Los Angeles, so I'm used to working far and wide. Many realtors just kind of work their neighborhood and that's their niche. I work all of Phoenix. I'm an expert in every neighborhood. Um, I've been working, as I said, about 10 years, upped my game a few years ago. I took on a licensed realtor assistant. And with her, we've been able to do about 15 million in sales per year. Um, I'm boots on the ground, as you said. I'm out there. Anything I work, I touch from start to finish. My licensed assistant is my backup. She does my transaction coordinating. She's able to get into properties if I'm not available. And together we get it done.
Awesome. Awesome. So, we know that real estate itself right now is like jokingly said the other day, I think I could sell my doghouse in the backyard for triple digits. So when we look at this, what are some of the strategies? Are you working with many buyers right now? I guess that's my first question. Are you working with many buyers?
Sure. So I typically work with buyers. Nothing I love more than a listing. So easy to put that sign out there and get it sold. The hardest part about being a listing agent is saying no to the 25 people who put in over asking bids. I work with lots of buyers. I've had to change my entire marketing plan. I always worked with entry level buyers. That was my passion. It was my wheelhouse. My kids are in their early 20s. I moved to Arizona 18 years ago from Southern California. So, friends that I grew up with in California, all of their children want to buy homes, but they can't buy homes in California. So, they started moving to Arizona. As my kids graduated college, I found a nice little niche. Started encouraging young kids, don't buy a car when you graduate college, buy a house. With down payment assistance, we can get you into a house for less money than you can get into an apartment. So that was my wheelhouse. I did a lot of small dollar volume transactions every year. Very rewarding. Unfortunately, our market has changed. Some parts of our market went up 32% November 2020 to November 2021. Housing prices went up to 32%. So entry level buyers, there's not a lot for them anymore. So last year I kind of struggled and looked around at the craziness in our market and realized survival of the fittest is being adaptable. It's not being a strong bully, it's being adaptable. So I had to kind of reformulate what I was doing. As much as I love the entry level buyer, there's just not enough there to sustain my business. So I started looking at, what's selling in our market. Because prices have gone up so high, who's buying? And we have a lot of out of state money, and we have a lot of investors. So I've kind of re-strategized, and I'm now marketing more towards the buyer and a lot of investor buyers.
Absolutely. Investor buyers. So let's talk that. I know that in our market here in Calgary, we're seeing people who um, say they're investors, but they're not really investors, so the deals aren't going through and such. How do you vet who is a real honest to goodness investor and somebody who is playing in it? And I apologize. It seems that we have frozen up here. So, um,
I have you fine.
okay, you have me fine.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, so I'm just curious because for an example, here in the Calgary market, we had a property on that was listed at just over the 400,000, and that's a very hot market for investors here in Calgary. And we had three offers come, and those investors supposedly had the money when they put the offer in and couldn't close. So, how do you decipher from real investor and I want to be an investor?
Sure, sure. So, investors have changed. It's interesting. I don't know if it started with COVID, but people have kind of reassessed money and what they've done with money, and people seem to have a little bit more free income these days. So, what I consider an investor is somebody who obviously owns their own home, whether they're in state or out of state. And then they have investment properties, usually anywhere between 1 and 10 properties. I have a few investors who are just getting into the investing market. I try to provide them with the pros, the cons, a bit of a prospectus on what to expect, what your return on investment is going to be. So this is where my marketing has had to change. I have to put together all of this data now, but also I need to vet my investor, of course. And no offer goes in ever without proof of funds. And then a decent earnest money, a decent amount of earnest money. And typically we're waiving any repairs and inspections. So there's
Yeah.
only a few days to do an inspection. And I have yet to have an investor back out of anything. Investors are so grateful when they finally secure a property. They're happy to take it. Our rents have gone up significantly. Our market here in Phoenix has gone up far higher than the rest of the nation. So this is an excellent place to be investing right now. So there's no shortage of investors. There's just a shortage of properties that we can get them into.
Absolutely. I'm originally from Wichita, Kansas, and my brother-in-law, I think, owns 19 properties there. And they've actually seen in the last 6 months Wichita go up 25% year over year. So, needless to say, with 19 properties, I mean, he's been in this for a long time, and he's a professional investor, and a professional landlord. So it is absolutely a great space. And I agree with before you um, go and do and buy the new car and spend all the money. Definitely looking at putting your foot in the real estate pool. There are speculation out there around real estate in North America because um, North America, when you look at Canada, the United States, we are some of the last kind of affordable, developed countries in the world where it's safe to live, safe to walk the streets, safe to do business, and still where housing has been very affordable up to this point. So when we look at like our European counterparts, you look at the UK, a townhome in London can run you well over £1 million,
Mhm.
and to gas up your car is you know four or $5 a gallon. So where do you think if we were to put a hypothetical on this, just watching the development of what's happening in the United States and in Canada, and seeing kind of how the world is unfolding right now, and with kind of the United States having such strong, welcoming immigration policies, where do you see the real estate going? A lot of people are going, when is this going to stop? What are your thoughts on that?
Sure. I focus on Arizona's real estate, and we are a bit of an anomaly. We don't follow the national trends typically. I belong to a group where we look at Mike Orr's database, and it's real time data. It's the oldest and largest database of real estate transactions in the nation. And Arizona is, as I said, it's an anomaly. We don't follow the typical trends, although I think things are really changing for us. And that is thanks to COVID. I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but we've seen so much of Silicon Valley move to Arizona. People are working remotely now. My four clients right now are from Seattle. Again, people are working remotely. They're not quite ready to retire. Really interesting dynamic. The group that's not quite ready to retire, but I can work remotely, so I'm going to move to Arizona. And that's who's buying right now. That seems to be my new wheelhouse. So, we were a state that was driven by tourism back in the day. So when, things like 9/11 happened, this economy crumbled, but we're no longer driven by tourism. I think we are the new, probably the second largest tech community. We have Taiwan Semiconductors just a couple miles down the road here, building one of the largest chip manufacturing plants in the world. So our dynamics are really, really changing. And I believe that because our median incomes are going up, I think we have a very healthy economy here in Phoenix. And regardless of what happens with the rest of the nation, we're watching the inflation right now. And the rest, I mean, everyone is suffering right now with inflation.
Yeah.
But our market here in Phoenix still seems to be thriving. And I think we will continue as the rest of the nation is hurt and reeling from high prices. They're escaping to Arizona, which still is affordable. We're one of the most affordable markets in the nation. So I think for now we're in good shape.
So let's talk locals. You've been there 10 years now, right?
Oh,
So
I've
I
been
am
here 18 years, selling real
18
estate for 10
years.
years.
Okay, so then I am dollars to donuts. I know you have heard in the last little while somebody say, I remember when housing prices was. So when we look at markets, so for example, Boise, Idaho. So my sister lives in Boise. And Boise, Idaho is one of the most elevated pricing in North America in the last 12 months. And that is all you had already mentioned a market, Seattle. That is all due to influx from San Francisco, Portland, and Seattle. So, second Silicon is kind of what it's being dubbed because it has topography, so forth and so on. So, when we look at that, because I know that I've talked to agents in Boise, and that's one of the things they're hearing is that the locals are getting priced out of the market. They
Mhm.
can no longer afford to live there. So now
Yes.
they're pushing outward. What are some of your thoughts around that? And how do you help, especially from the listing side? You get a call and somebody's like, I can't afford my taxes anymore because my taxes have gone up 3 times, or I'm not making the money I need to make in order to live now in this neighborhood. What are some of the ways that you help the locals navigate and still feel connected to their city that they've lived in and supported and loved?
Sure. So talk about expansion. So that is the big thing here in Phoenix. I live in the west side of Phoenix. People who grew up here would turn their nose up at the west side. It was all orange groves back 25 years ago. I came from Los Angeles. I thought it was beautiful, so I decided to settle here. People don't even realize I had a client that grew up in the Chandler area last weekend, and I met her at an investment property in the West Valley, and she is in her mid 50s, early 60s, and she was shocked that people lived out here, and was so taken back and so impressed at how beautiful the homes were and the area. And this has been in her backyard for years. People don't realize the expansion in Phoenix. So, where are we expanding? East Valley expanded maybe 10 years ago. I'm really big on expansion in the West Valley and the West Valley. I've kind of speculated on that, and I've bought my own investment properties and done very, very well on them. And that's where I tend to put my investor clients and also my neighbors whose children need to buy, or neighbors who just need a different house, but as you said, they're priced out of our market, or they just want to take some equity out of their home, and downsize, which usually means more square footage in one story, by the way. But so I'm finding, through my background is marketing. I went to USC. I have a degree in marketing. So I read a lot. Phoenix Business Journal is my go-to. I get alerts on my phone all day long, who bought land where and what they're doing with it. So between the businesses that are buying the land and developing, creating jobs, and the builders who are mowing down those mountains and putting up new homes, there are opportunities still to buy in Phoenix that are, you talked about the $400,000 market. I know our dollars are a little different, but that's a market that, I used to get people into homes for $180,000, and that wasn't that long
The
ago.
the very first home I sold in this market was $137,000. That same house today is about 450 in Calgary.
I used to call myself the queen of the $89,000 condo. It no longer exists. It's about a
Yep.
$400,000 condo now. But that's what I used to do, and I used to do a lot of them. So we do have new build, and I don't like to let my secrets out, but I have been sharing them with other neighboring and friend realtors. There is new build going out west. Some of the communities have prices in the mid 300,000s, but they've got wait lists of 300 people for those homes. They're not doing lottery. The systems are kind of weird. It's hard to get in, but every now and then I'll find a community that's friendly. There's one that's opening on Saturday. So opening day in the new community is where you want to get in. You're going to get entry level prices for that community. They will continue to go up every time there's a release of 10 homes over the course of a year. So by the time your new build is done being built in a year, you'll have $100,000 equity in that house before you even sign the
Yep.
papers. So that's where I'm taking my clients. But it is a matter of educating them as to the beauty and the value of the Northwest Valley. People, it's a little stigmatized. People don't understand what's going on out here. But everything's new and it's shiny and it's great and it's
Uh, you know,
less traffic.
I think that our younger generations are less about name brand and more about value. And they also do their research. They will know that if it's good value and it's a safe community, it's worth putting their money there. Um, it's funny because I am seeing shifts away from. I always joke that I'm not a Louis Vuitton bag. I'm more like a bowling bag. It's bright, it's colorful, it's fun, you know. And I personally have never been able to understand, and I've always been, just so everybody knows very, very clearly, I have always been a mid-market agent, and I've always worked predominantly as a listing agent in single-family homes. Um, and I think part of the reason I never truly transitioned to the luxury market is because I am the bowling bag, and I'm totally cool with that. But I think our next generation coming up is looking at what is useful, what is safe, what is, affordable. They're not as swayed by you must have this because it's this name brand. They're going, this couch is good enough. I don't need a Chintz and Company couch. I don't need an Ethan Allen couch. This one's good enough. So on that note, we're gonna do a little game because I've got this whole thing around modular homes and created communities that are financial bridge communities, but more so for the like 45 and over. Okay. So if you were to, in your market, if somebody came and said, I have money, we're going to develop a modular kind of RV type of thing, because we have this whole thing happening with nomadic lifestyle, right? What would that look like? How would you design it for the people in your community, the people you know that think that are somewhat fascinated by that? If the money was not an issue and you could design a cost-effective modular nomadic styled community to fit the 50 plus that wants to travel and move and own? What would it look like?
So it's interesting you brought that up because this is such a big topic right now. First off, I have a girlfriend who's an investor. She's a neighbor here in the community, and she developed a modular home community in the Casa Grande area, which is east of Phoenix, going towards Tucson. The homes were sold before she finished the community. So there is a huge demand simply because it's affordable housing. The nomadic lifestyle is huge. Everybody here has the big mobile homes, and they're buying land in places where everybody can come park them and they can go vacation. I'm not quite on board yet with this, Kim. I like my creature comfort. But I have a feeling it's in my future. You know, it's I think it's in all of our future. Here in Phoenix, as I said, housing's still affordable. Um, Land is pretty cheap. People are taking plots of land and they're developing them more into multifamily, maybe 4 and 8 plex, as opposed to the modular home community. So I'm not going to go any further on that comment because it terrifies me. It
No
absolutely
worries.
terrifies me.
Yeah, it's something that we talk to a lot of people, and we're looking at all the different building products and concepts
Yes.
and everything, because the United States is quoted to be 4.8 million homes short for servicing the affordable housing. So on to one, I have one final question. I know you're gonna have the answer to this. I ran across, and I'm so glad I have you agreed to share some time this morning with me, because I've been tracking this down and trying to remember what it is. And I know that they do it in Phoenix. It's where they do an energy rating. What is the term for energy rating on homes? Like when they go in, they say this home, the windows are this and the roof is this.
Sure. Is it the her rating that you're
Yes.
referring to? Yeah.
Can you share a little bit about that? Because with the cost of living and with inflation hitting,
Hmm.
I believe that this is something we're going to see, because I believe Arizona's on the forefront of this,
Yeah.
and it actually does affect. I believe that it does weigh in on your mortgage rate and what you qualify for and such like that. Can you share a little bit? Can you spell that for me? It's what is it again?
Hers rating HER, I think it may have a Z in it.
Yeah, I think
And
it's
so,
yeah.
yeah, so our electric costs have gone up 30% in the last year. It's huge. I was looking into solar and opted not to do solar. The payback just wasn't there. And we have a huge electric bill, and we don't have a pool, and I can't quite figure out why it's so big, but it's just huge. But because our prices have gone up so significantly in the last year, the return is there now for solar. So it's something we're just starting to look into. Solar is huge here in Phoenix. There are leases that are predatory. You find them in a lot of the retirement communities. When people go to sell a home, the leases are the homeowner is at a complete disadvantage. They're paying more for the lease and the electricity than they would be without solar. But what we can do now as realtors, as listing agents, is renegotiate those leases for the buyers. So it's not making deals fall apart any longer. So solar is huge. New homes are going to have the high energy rating that you're referring to. That's another reason that I push new homes, simply because everything from your appliances, through your windows, the insulation, everything is the highest rating possible for energy efficiency. And in Arizona with the heat, that's huge. That's really, really important. It's good for the environment. It's good all the way around. So we are a state that's very proactive with energy conservation, but we are seeing a big, huge push for solar here in Phoenix.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we have communities that are being built here in Calgary, and when you talk about energy bills, ours has like literally doubled here in Calgary. And the reality is, Calgary, where I live, we actually sit on one of the largest natural gas pools globally, and Our delivery, it's for us, it's all the taxes that go into
Mhm.
the delivery of energy.
Sure.
So we have some communities being built in, that 45 minutes out of core that are actually wired. The roofs are all solar. They're actually
Yeah, solar
wired for
roofs.
it.
That's Tesla's doing the solar roof, and I'm fascinated by it.
Oh, Tesla is Elon is crazy, crazy. He's such a forward thinker,
A
and
visionary.
to think that at 16 years of age he decided to leave South Africa, go to Canada, go to school out east, and then go to the United States. Like, he's done all this on his own, folks. So anybody
Yeah,
out there who says they're afraid to branch out or do something on their own is, really think about it. Some of the greatest minds out there work on their own, right? And do it from a very early age. So yeah, we're talking solar. So I'm going to look up more information on this Hertz because we're starting to see that here in Calgary because like I said, it's minus 16 today.
oh my
I've got a
goodness.
heating pad on my floor that I put my feet on so my toes don't get cold. So I'll swap you some weather. Actually, a
Kim,
lot
I
of us
may have
go
to
to,
sell you a
yeah,
house here when you're in
yes.
Phoenix.
Actually, we will be in Phoenix with the Resilient series. So April 30th. So we will definitely connect at that time for sure. Because then I'm going down to Yuma to get all my dental work just across the border because that's where I go for all my dental work.
Excellent.
But is there anything, words of wisdoms? I know that you had a really great quote that is an inspiration quote for you. And I'd love for you to leave us with that today as to kind of quote an insight. Because real estate is not an easy business. It is. It is a business within a business that makes you step outside of your own skin and treat yourself as a commodity and say, I am a business. It is a business that a lot of people don't understand the complexity of it. And, I always like to have inspirational quotes that we can share. What would you
Sure,
like to share?
sure. So Herman Cain is who this quote is by, but I believe it goes back to Einstein, and it's been said by many people, different variations of it. But it's about success, and it says, "Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success." You are doing when you if you're doing what you love, you'll be successful. It's just that simple. You have to love what you're doing, and when you love it, you'll succeed at it.
Absolutely. And we have our now NARS stats show that 62% of all residential real estate agents are women. And ladies, we got to support each other and celebrate each other. And I know we're this week is International Women's Day week,
Mhm.
and they're celebrating women around the world. And Kimberly, thank you for sharing your time and celebrating this week with me, because it's all about girl power, getting out there, getting the job done, and caring for people. This is a hard time for a lot of people. So just remember, if your clients are being a little weird or a little anxious, that's not unexpected. Just be a little bit kinder and you'll get the job done. So again,
Kim,
Kimberly, can
thank
you
you.
share with us your website, your email? How do we get a hold of you?
Sure, sure. My email is my name, just my original name, Kimberly Caruso at me.com. My website is kimberlycarusohomes.com. Love to hear from you.
Awesome. So if you want to explore homes in Phoenix and do it fast, you know who to call. Kimberly will
Please
be
reach
your
out.
gal.
Kim, thank you for having me. Cheers to you
Absolutely.
and success on your show.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody. Please like, share, subscribe, and comment. Your support will make this grow faster and faster, bigger and bigger. And I'm Kim Hayden. This is Kim Talks, All Things Real Estate Thursday. And we'll talk to you soon.